It's exclusive, bringing that exclusive information to the nation. And today, I want to explain the new read and react system on defense. This happens to be something brand new in NBA 2K20. Now, I'm sure most of you guys noticed that orange arrow that pops up from time to time on defense, and how the solid circle of the person with the ball turns into broken lines at times. Those are indicators for the new read and react system. Now, most of you probably seen that and wonder what it is. Some might have made their assumptions and kept it moving, and then some know exactly what it is. But for the people that don't know, I'm here to clear all that up. So first, let's take a look at 2K's description of the read and react system. For the orange arrow, the explanation is that when the arrow from the dribbler's indicator flashes, this indicates his intended attack direction. So basically that's saying the orange arrow tells you the direction that all the momentum of the ball handler is going in and which way they're attacking basically. So this helps defenders get to that spot faster or beat them to the spot. So the idea behind this would be for you as the defender to cut that off, because in real basketball, that's the idea of playing defense. So this brings the aspect of realism to the game, and it's more of an assist in playing defense, because this never existed in 2K before. So it's pretty helpful for defense this year. So that's the gist of the orange arrow and how that works. And I'll show examples of that soon. But first, let's go over the ball vulnerability, which is the broken lines, or as they call them, dash lines, in the ball handler circle. So for the explanation from 2K, for the ball vulnerability, when the dribbler's indicator changes from solid to dashed, this indicates when the ball is most vulnerable for a turnover. In other words, when this indicator pops up, that's the best time to reach. But let me clear that up. That doesn't mean spam X all day. That is the most annoying thing ever. And most likely if you do that, you're probably going to get a foul called on you. But that doesn't mean spam X all day. So with the read and react system, if you learn how to read and react well with this system, you're going to play pretty solid defense in my eyes, because essentially I feel like I have pretty good on-ball defense and I'm pretty good at stealing the ball. So this is just an extra hand for me, because I understood for a long time that with 2K, stealing the ball was all about timing. You had the time, the right time to hit X to get a successful steal most of the time. Of course, you got your pickpocket cheese, what people would call it, or you got certain flaws in the game that cause you to get the ball stolen. But really it always came down to the idea behind it was that if the ball handler is doing a bunch of crossovers and all that, he's at risk of turning the ball over. If the ball is exposed, he's at risk of getting the ball stolen. And these things existed for a long time in 2K. Timing was always the idea behind stealing the ball. If you time the X button, the steal button at the right time, it would increase your chances of getting a steal, or at least an animation where the ball is poked loose. And I happen to get those a lot already this year. And of course, a lot of people felt like stealing was too easy on 2K19, but if you had the timing down, you would get the steal. So that's how 2K's been for a long time. But it's very, very nice to see them implement an actual system, or like mini game, so to say, with defense and stealing, to make playing defense on ball much more fun and interactive, and to have an understanding behind things and actually explain this concept that's really been there since 2K has ever existed, to me, as far as I could remember. So as you can see in this picture, if you pay attention to Stephen Curry's posture, he's actually starting a crossover maybe, or a hesitation move right here, right? And the ball is up at his hands. I always understood in all the 2Ks for a while, probably since 2K, I learned this around 2K9, I want to say. I understood this concept that at that point right there, when the ball is up in their hands, that's the best time to try to steal a ball, or if it's on its way back down. So from their hand on down was the best time, it seemed like, to try to time that steal, because when you reach, you kind of get that animation around those time frames of trying to steal a ball. But now you can also pay attention to the dash lines that they have now and actually read and react and steal a ball. So let's just jump into some examples so I can break it down a bit further for you. And before we jump into the examples, if you stick around long enough, I could tell you guys some of the hidden tips in 2K to help you with the game, and just tell you a few things that is not just out there, but if you know where to go, you can find these things out. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't know about these things, so I dive into a few of those tips that stood out to me and just kind of show you what the rest are, and you could go through those at your own leisure. But let's get right to the examples. First, a couple examples of the attack direction part of the read and react system. So this essentially will be examples of how to read and react well using the orange arrow. Oh, I also want to throw out there that there's a badge connected to this read and react system. It's called lightning reflexes. So if you want to try this out on your mod player and see how it works out for you, go ahead and do that. What it does is give you an earlier cue on the read and react system. So you get like a head start on reading and reacting. So I'm not sure how helpful that'll be, but I'm willing to try it out this year just to see if it'll make any difference or give me an advantage on defense. So we have a near perfect example here of how to use the orange indicator to stay in front of the defender and play some solid defense. As you can see, I'm reading and reacting and jumping in front of the defender, following the indicators that are given to beat him to that spot, and it resulted into a stop and the quick basket on the other end. Here's another quick example of how it should look if you're reading and reacting right and kind of beating the ball handler to that spot. I lose them and I still recover here, so these are some nice solid defensive plays, and of course in rec matchups and against other users it's a bit harder, but I also am able to pull the same thing off majority of the time going against users too. Now what I want to point out about this orange indicator is that sometimes it points off in a weird direction, and that probably has something to do with the fake or the type of dribble move that the ball handler started off with. So keep that in mind, that it could get pretty weird and be in a different weird direction sometimes, and it probably ties into the type of move that the ball handler did, or has something to do with the badges that the ball handler has. Maybe there's a badge that has something to do with the read and react system and kind of faking you out. Maybe it's unpluckable, maybe it's tight handles, but I'm not completely sure on that. But sometimes it points in a weird direction, so it's probably to fake the defender out. And also there's times when the indicator is not even there along with the dashed lines, so keep that in mind too. And I also want to know if that has something to do with badges, or if it affects it being turned off in the menu, because you could turn read and reactions off in the menu. I wonder if that affects other people being able to see your read and reaction indicators too. So that might be a question that I could ask Mike Wang on Twitter or something. Now for some examples on the second part of the read and react system, which is the dash lines. Notice I hit X right when the dash lines were showing. You could definitely look at this as a mini game. Hit X when the dash lines are showing, and you have a great chance of getting the poke ball loose animation or the steal. Of course, this will be a little harder on guys that have the unpluckable badge or maybe the tight handles badge. Now keep in mind that this is very important for the ball handler to understand, just like it's important for the defender to understand, because the ball handler needs to know when and when not to do certain dribbles, or when they're most at risk for the ball to get stolen. We could run the clip of me making a mistake here, playing around with the ball and ending up getting the ball taken away, and you can actually feel the read and react system working the way it should, because you can see he reaches at the right time and gets the steal. Of course he's a defender, but that's even more of a reason for me to protect the ball a little more than I did right here. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the explanation on how the new read and reaction system works that I just so happen to love a lot this year, new in NBA 2K20. But feel free to comment below if you have any additional questions or anything that you would like to add. Now let's quickly dive into these hidden tips that I consider hidden just because they aren't a part of the 2KU and you kind of got to find them on your own. But let's talk about these hidden tips and where to find them. So to find the hidden tips I'm talking about, you have to go to options, 2KU tips. And the trick to this is another reason why I consider it hidden is because you have to hit RB or LB to switch it to tips. and then you could go through all the tips here. If you hit LT and RT, you can go through different aspects of the game and the tips connected to it. So yeah, these tips could be pretty helpful, so check them out, go through them all, and just read up on them and get yourself more informed about the game, because these are some pretty helpful tips. I hope this video helped you understand the read and react system more, and I hope these tips help you along the way also. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. It's exclusive, and I'm out.